Third-party candidates oftentimes are greeted with a little bit of, well, anger on the part of the traditional parties who say they're just spoilers. They said the same of Ralph Nader back in 2000. Back then, close to 100,000 Floridians voted for. That's just Florida. With us now, Ralph Nader. Ralph, you always hear this of independent, libertarian, whatever you want to call non-traditional two-party candidates, that they're spoilers. You heard that to the degree that you tipped the election for George Bush. What do you tell people when the Jill Steins and the Gary Johnsons are hearing much the same?
That's total nonsense. The Democratic Party scapegoating the Greens because they couldn't beat a bumbling governor from Texas who had a terrible record. That's what it's all about. Historically, Neil, the Green, excuse me, historically, third parties were first on the ballot against slavery, for women's right to vote, for regulation, railroads and banks, protecting America's farmers, for helping to organize industrial labor. And in the 20th century, third parties on the ballot were the first for progressive taxation, 40-hour week, Social Security, Medicare, consumer protection. They never won a national election. That's their value. They push a two-party duopoly that doesn't like competition from third parties in the right direction. And that's why the two parties resent it.
Do you think that regardless of the outcome today, and one consensus argument, always risky, Ralph, is that if Trump loses, there's going to be a civil war within the Republican Party, and if he loses by a big margin, then there's going to be a lot of finger-pointing. If it's a close one, maybe even more finger-pointing, but that he will still be a force in the party, a populist force. What do you think of that?
Yeah, but he won't be able to lead it. He's a businessman. You know,
yeah.
He wants his brand to go up. That's what he's going to resort to.
Do you think, however, by the way, I know a side issue there, do you think his brand does go up? Because it's been a brand built on winning. And even though it's a tall task to win becoming president of the United States, that the brand will be somewhat damaged.
Yeah, I think so. I think he's already opening up hotels without his name on it, and that's a sign that it's a liability. But more important to the president is this, Neil, and that is that the energy released by the Bernie Sanders and Trump campaigns is not going to go away. And there are going to be billionaires looking at the scene for 2020 saying, if a failed gambling czar who's a corporate welfare king and who dealt harshly with workers, shareholders, his creditors, his suppliers, can get almost into the White House, what about them? So I think we're going to get a third and fourth break of the two-party system coming up, because nothing's going to happen in the next 4 years because of the gridlock between the Republicans and Congress and Hillary Clinton.
Oh, no, I understand. But by the way, you were a little harsh on Donald Trump there. But, you know, she has leveraged and gotten wealthy leveraging off her and her husband's time in public office. Yeah. So there's a lot of that to go around. But I wonder, Rob, about whether a third party is eventually going to be able to seize on the failures of the major parties, because that's how they come into being, at least the past suggests. The Republican Party, a good example of that with Abraham Lincoln. But it takes a while. Does it take a big old crisis or a tumult to bring that out? What do you think? Yeah,
I mean, the gridlock is enough. I mean, they can't even get hearings on budgets. Right. Nominations are piling up for the courts and for the executive branch, and that's what you're going to see. You're going to see a worsening status quo gridlock. In the meantime, these forces that fueled Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, they're going to be looking for an outlet, and it's not going to be the Republican Democratic parties.
Who are you voting for?
I don't see who I'm voting for, but the best platform.
You want to whisper it in me?
The best platform is the Green Party platform.
Okay.
In fact, if you polled it, most of the issues, not all, most of the issues would have majority support. But it's a two-party tyranny.
Okay. Always a pleasure. Ralph Nader, thank you very much.